In this video, you will learn how the cultural significance of creative works is impacted by power structures within the culture. Power structures are social institutions that hold power and authority. A social institution is a group or organization that has specific functions within society. The groups that create social institutions use their power to maintain authority over society in various ways. This includes influence on the arts. Examples of power structures are government, education, corporations, and endowments. Through funding decisions, power structures impact whose work gets supported and where. Local and federal governments fund artists and venues for accessing creative work. Governments also have influence on public art. Corporations also commission works to convey a message about their brand, and corporate sponsors are often partial funders of arts venues. Endowments are very large donations to a nonprofit organization, often from a person's will, that fund works based on the organization's mission. Educational institutions have control over what students learn, read, and see through choices about curriculum, materials, and instructors. Equity of access also affects the cultural significance of creative works. Equity of access entails how a community supports public access to creative expression. This could look like holding exhibitions in a museum or making space for public art, ensuring some performance venues are affordable, or keeping library doors open and shelves filled. The power structures that determine what creator gets funded make decisions about the public's access to creative works. Power structures control over the creation and transmission of creative works to promote a certain point of view can result in propaganda and censorship. Propaganda demonstrates the power dynamic of using creative works with the intention to manipulate public opinion. Censorship is the suppression of words, images, and ideas considered objectionable or offensive by a dominant group. When the power structures are representative of a dominant culture, they are in a position to directly or indirectly influence society's interpretation of creative works, and thereby deem the work's cultural significance. However, there are efforts to call attention to power structures when their influence holds back creators and access to creative expression. For instance, groups like the Guerrilla Girls in the 1980s and the Me Too movement in the early 2000s, the Right to Read organization, and events like Banned Book Week take action to expand the limits of what works are considered culturally significant.